Greetings, boys and ghouls. I'm Sean with the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. You've asked for it, and now the Goosebumps Crew Podcast wants to deliver.
And you're in for a scare, because the Goosebumps Crew is proud to announce one weekend at Horrorland.
So get ready, my friends, for an event that celebrates the magic of horror literature like never before.
It's where you'll find like-minded fans of some of your favorite horror shows and movies, including some of the guests who've appeared on the Goosebumps Crew Podcast.
Our special guests, panels, and activities for fans of all ages will immerse you in an exciting and spooky atmosphere, sure to get you into the spirit of things.
But here's the thing, we can't do it alone. We need your support to bring this dream of ours to life.
By making a donation, you become an essential part of making this extraordinary event a reality.
And as a token of our appreciation, the Goosebumps Crew has prepared some extraordinary gifts and rewards exclusively for our backers.
So, my friends, join us on this magical journey where we will create a weekend filled with pure passion and shared love for the horror genre.
Please visit our Kickstarter donation page now. Let your passion ignite the flame that will make this event a reality.
The most thrilling, spine-tingling series ever.
From the pages of R.L. Stine's best-selling books,
And the screams go on forever and ever.
We now return to Goosebumps.
Greetings, Goosebumps fans, young and old, big and small. Welcome back to the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Isaiah Vargas, and I'm joined by the rest of the Goosebumps crew, Bjorn Panelick and Nick Shaw. And we're also joined, once again, by our good buddy Austin, also known as Goosebumps Completionist. And we're also joined by a very special guest. We have here Braden Gardner, and he is the little boy who won the Brain Juice Terrifying Title Contest, the contest that was the partnership of Goosebumps and General Mills in 1998. And he's here today to talk some Goosebumps with us. Thanks for joining us, Braden.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Absolutely, and we're happy to have you. So, as you guys may have known, if you guys watched our last episode where we talked about lost and canceled Goosebumps books, there were a few Goosebumps stories that started out as titles, but did not get made into full stories, or maybe the stories were made but they kind of fell into obscurity. Two of those titles were the product of these Goosebumps contests done in the 90s. One of them, as we mentioned in the last episode, was a title called Slime Doesn't Pay that was made by a boy named Jimmy S., and he won with his title Slime Doesn't Pay. And even though there was eventually, as you can see Bjorn holding it up, there was eventually an R.L. Stine novella called Slime Doesn't Pay, it only took 20 years for that book to get made, because it never got made into a Goosebumps book. Until Jim's brother went onto like a tweet or a live and asked R.L. Stine, is like, hey, my brother came up with this title called Slime Doesn't Pay, is like, it never got made into a book. And then R.L. Stine said, ooh, that title was good. The good thing I came up with it. I might be paraphrasing a little bit. But another title that was the product of a Goosebumps contest was the title that Braden here came up with for the Brain Juice Terrifying Title Contest. It was a contest that was a partnership of Scholastic and General Mills in 1998, where kids all across America were given one task to come up with a title that R.L. Stine will turn into a Goosebumps story. They got away with it too because he wouldn't turn it into a full book. It would be a short story, so they didn't have to write.
There
a
was
book
no
about
meddling kids.
I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling middle-aged adults. or better yet, the South Park one would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling policemen.
Oh yeah.
But we had this contest and Braden was the winner and he won with his title, Dead Dogs Still Fetch. And Braden, if you could tell us, how did you get involved with this contest? What made you want to enter?
So I didn't find out about the contest until, they were airing it on Fox Kids. And I watch cartoons after school. You get your X-Men, you get your Spider-Man, and I saw the contest advertised periodically on there. And like, that's kind of cool. And my dad actually happened to be in the room when the contest advertisement was running and told me that I should enter that. And I'm like, okay. So after school one day, shortly after that, we started brainstorming titles back and forth and kind of went back and forth. We'd throw a title out there, we'd try to workshop it if we thought there was merit, or we'd skip it for the next one. And eventually I suggested Dead Dogs Still Fetch. And there wasn't really a lot of workshopping with that one. Like, we tried a few variations of it, but nothing really rang as well as the original. So that's what got entered.
Nice. And this contest, again, this was tasked for all kids across America. So there were thousands of entries that were given to this contest, and it was a big deal. It had a lot of promotion behind it. You had commercials, you had news coverage, you had print ads. And General Mills was really leaning hard into this. There was radio ads and local radio stations across the country. And everything culminated in about, I believe, February of 1998. And it was actually, coincidentally, it was around the time that the book Brain Juice in Goosebumps Series 2000 was released. And the winner was officially announced to be you. So how did you find out that you were the winner of the contest?
Well, funny story. I found out when I came face to face with a school of people chanting my name and R.L. Stine standing on the steps through the door I came in. I didn't know until the day of. It was a well-engineered secret. I'll give them that.
So your whole school kept that like a secret from you? You didn't even know until you walked in the door?
No clue. The day of the event, the gym was closed off, so you couldn't go into the gym that day for whatever reason. They had tape across the doors and the whole deal. But nobody knew what was going on. And it was about midday, right after lunch. They called me in from recess to go to the principal's office. And me, 11-year-old me, one of the good kids. I didn't get into trouble, so it's like, what did I do? Why am I going to the principal's office? What's going on? And it wasn't for anything bad. That was kind of wiped away pretty quick. And we had a conversation. I could not tell you what about at the time. And eventually we started making our way to the gym for an assembly that was scheduled that day. So made our way through, and I remember distinctly that the principal kind of karate chopped through the masking tape blocking the door, and I was like, oh, I wanted to do that. And then we opened the door, and wow, it was so much to take in. Everybody's chanting my name. I have no idea what's going on, and I have to actually kind of be cued a little bit to turn and see the man himself, R.L. Stine, standing there waiting to greet me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. 11-year-old me's brain kind of short-circuited in that moment. There was so much going on. I needed a moment to kind of just process what all was going on. It was incredible.
I like that you said you had to be cute. You'd just be like looking out there, and then they're like, hey, what's that over there? You're like, what's over there? Holy crap.
Right?
Basically you won the Goosebumps lottery in a sense. Like, that's what it would have felt like.
It was.
You know?
Yeah,
That's insane.
100%.
Yeah.
When I lived in small town Iowa as a kid. Like, our community of multiple small towns couldn't have exceeded 2,000 people. Like, it wasn't. Things like that did not happen in communities like ours.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it must have been really incredible to have like a big name author just come to your school one day and in front of the whole school, and then there you are right alongside them. Everyone's chanting your name. I mean, I can't imagine anything just like as a kid, just to have your entire class like just clapping and applauding you. It's just like, you know what? This is a good day.
Right? It's just... Go ahead.
For something Goosebumps too, man. Like that's just insane. Like I couldn't even imagine it. You know what I mean? Because I don't do things like that now with Goosebumps. So that's why it's just amazing hearing these stories. You know,
100%. Like, the author of your favorite series of books showing up to your school to shake your hand and create your story. Like you said, Goosebumps Lottery. It was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really is.
Shame they didn't give you walkout music. They're chanting your name and cheering. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
I feel like walkout music should have been played, either the Goosebumps theme song or something.
You know, in a really cynical comedy, they would like have a big red carpet and it would go around and you'd be like waving, everyone would be cheering, and it would lead out the other gym door on the other side. They close it and they're like, all right, he's gone. Let's get the real winner out here.
He's our industry plant. We chose to win.
Yeah. Or
Wow.
It's like they lead you to the door and they open it and you're like, I'm the winner? It's like, no, we're actually pointing to the kid right behind you.
Yeah, that does happen though quite a lot, I must admit.
Oh, does it? That'd be really
I
sad.
remember even being at a school assembly, and I can't remember what year it was, but it was at summer school assembly, and they were just kind of like they were pointing to people in the crowd, you know, to like come up and, you know, grab their prize. I remember they did point like right at me, and I got up and started walking, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry, my little dude. It's actually the person behind you." So I've been in that situation where I was like, "Oh dang it." Kind of like, I mean, it's not as bad as Zoolander when they call for Hansel, you know, and he gets up and literally walks on stage. Not that bad, but you know what I mean. It was pretty embarrassing, you know, for me.
Or it's like SpongeBob, where you just run up and you're just like, people of Bikini Bottom.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
what I mean. Like, it could have been worse.
it's like, I'm making a complete one of myself. The most embarrassing thing you've ever seen. But fortunately that didn't happen. You were the actual winner of the contest. Now, so I mean, you said you walked out to like cheering crowds, all your classmates there, and then you got to meet the R.L. Stine itself. I mean, what was it like just in that moment? I mean, you're a Goosebumps fan meeting R.L. Stine.
It was incredible. Like, a dream come true for 11-year-old me. Like, again, things like that don't happen in the middle of nowhere, Iowa. So this was just like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting and incredible. And honestly, I was completely caught off guard. I had no idea I'd won the contest. I did not find out until I walked through that door. So the con that had to be set up to keep me in the dark for that was clearly very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because something like that, a school needs to plan that.
Died just to keep that secret.
Yeah, if anybody found out, they were brought back and capped. They will not be missed.
It's kind of like that. Like, they clearly had been sitting on this for at least several days. I had family from out of town there, and the morning of, my folks convinced me to wear my t-shirt for the Goosebumps CD-ROM game to school. And, you know, I like the t-shirt, I like the game, so I was like, okay, sure, yeah, whatever. Didn't suspect a thing. Just the fact that they kept it from me, they kept it from my siblings, they kept it from the student body at large. Like, I had no idea. Genuine surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the CD-ROM game?
How many girls' numbers did you get?
Oh,
None.
that's
I figured,
crazy
man,
to me.
you're king of the school now. You got Stine there. You got a year's supply of fruit roll-ups.
You got all the Goosebumps gals because you won.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
well,
for sure
wasn't the
thought
CD
you get some digits. So
wasn't that CD-ROM
Shame.
game shirt like another prize that you had to win from something? Like, did you win another Goosebumps prize, or was that one you could buy in the store?
I thought it
Actually,
came with
just
the
curious to
game,
know.
if I'm remembering correctly, but I don't remember for sure.
I think some bundles had the game with the shirt.
There must have been like a promotion in the store, like if you ordered it or something. You know, like if you pre-order a game, you get something. Yeah, because like I swear, I don't see many of those shirts. I've seen maybe like 3 in 20 years. So that shirt's also a very rare shirt. You got the brain juice one, and then you got the CD-ROM shirt. Like, man.
Just to put a cap
That's
on the whole, secrecy thing, it's just like, what it is to be like a child. You don't question many things. You're just kind of like, oh, the gym's walled off for no reason. That's cool. Oh, they want me to specifically wear this shirt and go to this place at school to stay. Okay. They want to bring just me to the office while the entire school goes elsewhere. Well, sure. Whatever. Yeah, it's like all I'm thinking of is like they call you to the office and then all the kids do that asshole thing where they're just like, ooh.
Yeah,
I think there was one time where I wanted to
when you got called to the office or got in trouble.
I think there was one time it was either me or someone else, but like,
come up to the office, please. Ooh.
I think there was one time I did that too, and I was like already in a bad mood that day. It wasn't even anything bad, but like I was called to the office. I was already in a bad mood, and everyone just did that like, ooh, and I was this close to snapping back and be like, shut the fuck up. Like, ooh, yourselves, you
were you though?
Assholes.
Oh man.
But anyway, so yeah, but you got there. Now, so you got to meet R.L. Stine because you came up with the winning title. So what was it like, getting to write that title? Did you guys come up with a good story?
So as far as coming up with the title itself, it was brainstorming ideas back and forth. We didn't really do the story when we submitted the title because, we just wanted the title. We didn't need to write the story. But once we got into the event, after I'd won the contest, once we got into the event, we did some introduction, and then the story was basically the main event of the assembly, where R.L. Stine had volunteers from the audience start volunteering pieces of information, and he'd take them and he'd spin them into what eventually became a short group storytelling session. And it just went really smoothly. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, it was a combination of R.L. Stine, you, and the audience. So like the audience basically got to spitball ideas out to create the story. Correct.
I know for sure that the audience was responsible for names and some locations and some other details. And 11-year-old me didn't really want the moment to end. Like, it was incredible. I really like storytelling. I like writing. So this was getting to be involved with it with my favorite author. It was just like, yeah, this is awesome. This is dream come true, best day ever.
Absolutely.
And then looking back on the experience after finding the footage, I was genuinely impressed with how approachable R.L. Stine was, how careful he was to make sure that he was getting a good mix of boys and girls involved, making sure that he was picking a variety of people. Like, 11-year-old me probably instinctively picked up on that, which is why I had such a good time, but I wouldn't have been able to put the words to it until kind of revisiting it now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Catherine Long, when we had her on, actually said that she always thought when she met him as like a creepy Mr. Rogers, which is kind of true. I mean, like, he's super nice, but he's just got that
hello neighbor.
Yeah, he's got that weird creep factor to him, but you like it anyway. It's interesting. I wonder if he wakes up like that, or if he just goes out to the world like that. She says, and it really sparked that interest. Like, is that a face he puts on, or is that behind closed doors? It's a different kind of Stine. So,
But I'll say this, Braden. I think you lived out a fantasy that many Goosebumps fans throughout the history of this franchise have always wanted, and that was like to be able to like maybe just sit down with R.L. Stine and collaborate with him on an idea. And the fact that you got to be essentially the celebrity of the moment and be cheered on by your peers, get to meet your idol, get to sit down and write a story along with your idol on a title you came up with is such a special thing, I feel. And I mean, literally, it's like a stuff of legend, because before the footage that surfaced because of your doing, it was talked about and kind of mythological almost to find this story, because not only was it a lost piece of media that we can get more content out of, it was mostly just the idea of, hey, this kid got to live something. We wanted to see the experience and what it was like. So yeah, I had to throw that in there because what you got to experience is something that I could only dream of.
have you ever heard of the story of Braden, the contest winner?
Well, it was incredibly cool because for years afterward, I was the Goosebumps guy. Like, that's how people recognized me for years after the fact. Like, at least a decade. It was like, hey, you're the kid who won the Goosebumps contest. And like, yep, that's me.
Cool.
Wow.
Can I borrow some money?
Crazy. It's like that's actually so funny that you said that, like, the Goosebumps guy, because like that's how I've become here in Australia. Because like I go to like different swap meets and stuff, and I know pretty much everyone now within the community here in Australia, but not just the like Goosebumps, like just people that buy and sell and collect, whatnot. And they always just call me the Goosebump guy. They're like, oh, the Goosebumps guy's here. Have you got any Goosebumps stuff? You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it's become now. And like, because I was even at a swap meet recently called James Old Toys, and it's like one of the biggest swap meets for toys and collectibles in Australia that they put together. And yeah, like I'll just be walking around the stalls there, and it's just, oh, that's the Goosebump guy. Oh, I'll see if I've got any Goosebumps. And then like I'll get people like walking up to me in the event, like from different stalls, being like, oh, hey, I've got this if you're interested. And I'm like, I have 10 of those. I don't need it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I totally get what you mean. Like, you just sort of become like, the Goosebumps guy, like, especially after winning a contest like that. Like Austin said, it's a dream come true for us Goosebump fans to be able to live out that fantasy, man. Like, it's amazing,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I think it's incredible that we actually have an identity to a contest winner and be able to put a face and a name to somebody and have tangible connections to that person. Because when you look at the history, especially in the 90s, of these sweepstakes contest winners, you have to really dig to find them. And there's only a handful that are well publicly known, like Jimmy S's Slime Doesn't Pay contest title. That became kind of popular on the wiki forums, and that kind of blew up on its own thing. And then you have Jack Archer, who won the contest that allowed him to become the main character of Invasion of the Body Squeezers, and he was also put into the Haunted Mass 2 episode as an extra. So you're kind of like one of the many faces that represent the 90s and the popularity of Goosebumps, and you probably don't feel that, but you are that. You embody what the kids were of the time and the fan base, and I think that's really cool, and I envy you for that. But you really have no idea how much it was kind of a stuff of legend during the lost media years of this story, back before it was found, of you just trying to find you and trying to get in contact with you. So I guess the question to you was, were you shocked when people reached out to you about the contest?
I was genuinely surprised. My first contact with someone reaching out to me was through Jude, and they'd reached out to me and said that they'd found that I was the winner of the contest, wanted to know more information about it. So I was like, okay, sure. I was genuinely surprised. They'd actually reached out to my elementary school, who then reached out to my folks, who let me know, and then I went ahead and started communicating with Jude about things. And while I did not know at the time how lost the media was as everyone was trying to run it down, believe me, the detective work to unearth the footage gave me a firsthand appreciation. I talked to everybody to try and run this down. What I had initially was a videotape or two that had kind of become unusable due to, time and a rough VCR and some other things. So I sent Jude what I had, which was a scan of the original article from the Des Moines Register. And then I remembered that there had been 3 cameras running that I knew about at the time. 2 of them would have been news stations, and 1 of them would have been footage from my grandparents. So we ran down the footage from my grandparents, and I gotta tell you, video cameras have come a long way since the 90s. That footage is very, very blurry and very hard to actually make too much out of. So it wasn't really suitable to the task. Like, it was something where I was like, I can send you this, you're not going to get much out of it. So I started asking around. I reached out to the local CBS and NBC TV stations to see if they had archived footage. I even have a connection over at the CBS station who was able to dig super deeply for me. Nothing. I reached out to my school district. They didn't have anything. I checked with my parents, obviously. They didn't have anything. I reached out to General Mills themselves and got in contact with their archival department. They didn't have anything. I was just turning up dead end, dead end, dead end. And then I went to go visit my folks for a holiday, and they had found some pictures of the event. So I was like, okay, that's cool. That's more than I had to work with before. So I have those stashed away somewhere. And then the day after I get back home from visiting the family, Dad reaches out to me and lets me know that he actually found a videotape and he's going to send it to me. I'm like, okay, awesome. So rather than risk the tape in a VCR known for eating videotapes, I just like, okay, we're not putting anything in there. We're not risking this. I have no idea what's on it. I'm just going to take the tapes I have over to get them digitized so that I don't have to worry about it. And when I got the tapes back, I actually found that I had 3 files that just weren't functional whatsoever. And then I had the footage that you all are familiar with today on the last one. And I was like, is this what I think it is? Is this a complete run of the assembly? Because even the news stations wouldn't have had the full thing recorded at the time. It was all pencil and paper predominantly for how they were taking notes. Mm-hmm. They had some small video clips, but not much more than that. No, this was basically the assembly almost unabridged. Like, there are clearly some spots that have been skipped, but it was the whole thing. And I got it over to Jude, and Jude got it over to Austin, and the rest is history.
Yeah. And that's awesome. I mean, again, it's always interesting to find like lost media like that, but especially a relic of the past like that, it's too good to be lost to time. So the fact that it was able to be uncovered like that and now can live on in history is always a great achievement for lost media hunters and just the world of entertainment in general. Going off of all that is like, it's incredible that not only were you like a celebrity in your school, but you were also a celebrity in your town and across like the entire country, because again, this had like a lot of news coverage behind it. Many different news affiliates were coming to you and interviewing you and saying like what did you think about like the title, and like how do you feel like winning the contest, and just like thinking about being an 11-year-old and just being on TV, meeting your favorite author, being like a hero at school. It's like, it seems like a lot, but it's also just like you feel like on top of the world in that kind of scenario, I would feel.
I definitely did feel that way. And again, I was not someone accustomed to getting that kind of attention. So it was also a little overwhelming, to be honest. Like, it was just so much to take in. And it was an incredible experience, but I was processing it for days afterward. And even the local news outlets were running the story like for a solid week afterwards. It showed up on pretty much every news show for the next week and change. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And who doesn't like being on TV?
Yeah, everyone loves being on TV, except people who don't like being on TV, which
Well,
there aren't any.
right.
So not only did you get to have your story created with R.L. Stine, but you also got to get some prizes. What were some of the prizes that you had received?
Oh, well, the prizes were kind of split into two categories. There was stuff that my school got, and there was stuff that I got. As far as what I got a year's supply of fruit roll-ups, which was awesome. I got a signed book from R.L. Stine, one of the Fright Light books. I still have it to this day, actually. It's on my desk right next to me. It's this guy here. And,
nice.
There's even a nice little personalization there that I can show you, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
And that's
awesome.
that's a pretty hard to find book nowadays too. So not only do you have it signed, but it's not a super common one to find either. So you're holding a holy grail in the Goosebumps community, I would say.
Definitely.
That's fair.
That's so cool.
But your school received some stuff. What did your school get?
So school got $1,000. They got an iMac, which at the time was the new hotness for computers. Man, how far we've come. And then the library also got a full set of the original 62 books, which was super cool. Like, I think both the elementary school libraries got one, and I think they still have them to this day. So an enduring prize like that is just excellent.
Well, yeah, it's awesome that your school can benefit from, this contest as well. It's not prizes that are solely exclusive to you. Like, your school is able to get, we just about the computer, but it was a high-end computer at the time, and many schools probably couldn't afford it. So to get something new like that, and just getting all those books, which were super popular at the time, and I mean, even now, there are still kids who will read the original 62 Goosebumps books and really enjoy them. So it's something that's really cool that it's not mutually exclusive to you, even though you probably get the better prizes.
Oh, well, yeah. And of course, we can't forget about the visit from the big man himself. Like, that was the top tier prize out of all of that.
Well, again, like, even, not your whole school is like showing up, and then R.L. Stine is there, and it's like, I could imagine for the entire school that was an amazing day. It was just more amazing on your part because he was there because of you.
Well, yeah, and I mean, everybody got cool Goosebumps Brain Juice t-shirts, and it was just an incredible experience. And seeing everybody wearing the new shirts, and then getting to meet R.L. Stine, and then making the story, like, it was a good day for everybody involved. It was nice to be able to share it. Like, super cool. I don't have words to properly express how awesome it was.
I've seen pictures of those Brain Juice shirts, and they're really cool looking.
Yeah, if anybody out there watching this has one, you need to hit me in the comments, okay?
Yeah, you need to send it over right now.
I'm looking for one.
That's probably like the rarest Goosebumps shirt in existence right now, would be that Brain Juice shirt. Like, they would have only made however many they needed for the contest, like for the kids.
Well,
So
unfortunately, most kids are not collectors, and they don't hold on to that stuff. So I can imagine that most of them probably ended up in a landfill somewhere.
Well, you might be surprised. I mean, it's middle of small town Iowa. I'd be willing to bet you there's some of them kicking around in various boxes and garages and what have you.
Well, if anyone in Iowa is watching this episode, hit us up. Hit us up.
Don't throw it in your garage sale.
Yep. Don't give it to Joe Schmo. Give it to Goosebumps.
We need exactly 4 of them. Okay, yep. So 4 people are watching. There's 4 guys here. So,
but Braden, I think the fact that you were able to save the footage and like preserve it, it's a timestamp in a forgotten thing that we don't see in Goosebumps anymore. I think the other guys brought it up, that the sweepstakes promotions that were like a mainstay in early Goosebumps, there's not really video evidence of any of that online. And the fact that you were able to preserve something that everybody was kind of curious and how the experience would unfold, I think that's incredible personally. And I want to thank you for allowing me to upload the video to my channel personally. Because to me, every time I watch that, not only do I get to see the enjoyment in your eyes about the whole event, but we get to kind of live what it was like to be there as well. And you gave that to the community. So thank you.
No problem at all. And in all honesty, you might not have gotten the footage at all. Like I think that was the original tape that General Mills actually recorded. And we had a house fire a few years after that event. So what I suspect happened with that tape was that they gave it to the school. At some point after the fire, the school gave it to my dad. And of course, nobody at the school involved with the event remembered any of this when I was reaching out to them. And then it ended up stashed somewhere and Dad found it. So there were so many opportunities where this lone tape could have been lost forever. And I'm just as happy as you are that it wasn't, because that was a big event of my childhood. It would have been a tragedy for that to have disappeared.
Absolutely.
It'll never get lost again. It'll never get lost again. That's for sure.
Nope. The internet has a way of holding on to things like that.
It's in the Goosebumps vault. It's in the archive. It's forever going to be there. So
I have 3 copies. I have one on my MacBook hard drive. I got one on a USB file, and I have a copy on YouTube. So it's never going to go anywhere.
You know what would be funny is if somebody took the video file and then recorded it onto a VHS tape. It all comes full circle. Going back to, you said you got a year's supply of fruit roll-ups. I mean, first of all, I hope they included a year's supply of dental insurance for all that sugar.
Well, they forgot that in the fine print as it happens. So
they're not liable.
No liability.
Wasn't this at the time when Goosebumps they had fruit roll-up Goosebumps Series 2000 promotion? Was it like
so, yeah.
Do you remember if the box had the Goosebumps Series 2000 promotion on the actual boxes?
Trying to remember. I don't think it did. They were just standard fruit roll-ups from what I remember in standard boxes.
Yeah.
That's a missed opportunity.
I have a box of the fruit roll-ups. Like, it's like the original box, and it's Goosebumps Series 2000. And funny enough, it has brain juice on the spine of it, like on the side part. So I think that's so funny. And I thought maybe it was that box that you got that had brain juice like on the actual side of it. But I have one of those just flat, packed in my archives in the collection. So that's really cool. It's almost like
I think it's a little out of place that they gave you fruit roll-ups and not Gushers, which is probably the more fitting snack for a brain juice contest, since it has.
Yeah, they had that on Goosebumps too. They had Fruit Gushers Goosebump promotion too.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
But a year's supply of fruit roll-ups is a lot of fruit roll-ups.
Oh, you have no idea. They were stacked up on our table for months, and I've got siblings and plenty of friends who like fruit roll-ups. Like, they got spread around and they just endured for so long. I enjoy fruit roll-ups.
Yeah, school lunchbox for such a long time. Like every day at school, you must have had one in your lunchbox, or 2 or 3, or however many you wanted.
There were more after-school snacks.
Yeah, or just like fill your book bag full of them and like deal them out at lunchtime and just be like, okay, I got the good stuff right here. I got the good stuff. I say, you got my money? If you don't got my money, I'm gonna break your legs.
Chip cookie for one.
I'm kind of curious. So when you got the fruit roll-ups, did they just drop them all off in one lump sum, or did you get them mailed to you periodically?
Lump sum. We had the whole shebang.
They just got a big dump truck and put it right on your front lawn, and we're like, good luck.
Like 300 plus boxes.
Not too far off. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a gigantic box.
Wow. That's so cool.
It's like, I'm thinking of like,
how they sort that.
There was a Goofy cartoon where he ordered like a large TV, and basically how they delivered it to him is they tore off his roof, put the box inside, and then put the roof back on. So if only it could have been done like that.
Yeah, we ended up opening the box outside and bringing the fruit roll-ups inside. The box was not comfortably getting through that door.
Whoa. Must have been a big box.
Wow. It was a big box.
Oh man, I love that. Oh man. But no, and going off of all of that, I mean, you had, obviously it had to have been a Goosebumps fan before joining this contest. What did you like about the Goosebumps books that made you a fan?
So Goosebumps was kind of my initial foray into horror, which ended up being a genre that I enjoy reading to this day. But my first Goosebumps book that I actually read was Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. And I was taking piano at the time. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a pretty good story. I wonder how many of these Goosebumps books are out there. Because Piano Lessons was in the teens somewhere. I think it was 13, thereabouts. And I go to the library, and this would have been about the time that The Barking Ghost came out. And they had most of them. So I'm like, oh, there's so many of these. So, I was hooked pretty much immediately. And my mom, being happy that I was reading, was more than happy to buy books for birthday, holidays, that kind of thing, to kind of keep encouraging that. So, yeah, that's kind of how I got my start.
Funnily enough, that's almost exactly like my story, because I was the same way. I just discovered it at school. I was not a good reader up to that point, but I was reading all of a sudden these chapter books like super fast, and then they were like, "Well, we better keep it going." So he keeps reading. Little did they know it was going to spiral into an obsession, and now that is the result. So hey, but at least I read. So
yeah, Goosebumps got a lot of kids into reading.
Yep,
that's for sure.
And writing.
There was a whole article on that when they were trying to ban them, and then there was a lot of people coming up saying no, like the only reason my daughter, the only reason my brother, the only reason whoever it was is reading is because of Goosebumps. So they decided, no, we are not taking them off the shelves because it's getting kids to read, So
we've always said that Goosebumps is like what I like to call the gateway drug into the horror genre, because it really is. I mean, a lot of people who get into horror movies and literature and TV shows, some of them get their start in stuff, it's not exclusive to Goosebumps, but like stuff like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, or even like cartoons like Courage the Cowardly Dog, is like those things as kids kind of lead you into horror movies and stuff growing up, because you get sucked in with those kinds of stories. But Goosebumps was definitely for kids in the 90s, where a lot of people's obsession with horror came from. And that's just a testament to the kind of franchise it was.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
And I eventually ended up, when I stopped reading Goosebumps, I still stuck with R.L. Stine through Fear Street and other works that he'd written that were meant for older kids. So it was nice to be able to stick with the author, even if I wasn't necessarily reading Goosebumps in my teen years as much. So much appreciated. A lot of good reading there.
Have you ever had any contact with R.L. Stine following the contest, or has it been radio silence?
None whatsoever. It's one of those things that I've always wanted to go to a convention and say hi, kind of catch up and all that, but the timing's just never quite worked out for that. And it was probably one event among many that he went to. I don't know how vivid his memory is of the actual event itself, but it left a big impression on me and those he visited at my school. So I'd love the opportunity to do that someday.
Absolutely.
Definitely. That'd be awesome.
Yep. And yeah, so going off of the talk earlier about that footage that was uncovered, this footage was uncovered about 2 years ago, and it was a pretty big deal in the Goosebumps community when it came out. And what we're going to do now is we're going to watch that footage. We're going to watch through it, and we're going to look at it and see for ourselves what all the buzz was about at the time. All right, so we're going to watch the original video that depicted the news coverage of the contest, both before and after the winner was announced. And we're going to watch the assembly video. So we're going to see for ourselves what we've all been talking about so far. So let's get started.
And now, just in time for Halloween, there's a nationwide contest on for kids to write a scary Goosebumps story. And the winner gets the author of the popular children's tales as an English teacher for a day. The Brain Juice contest celebrates the release of R.L. Stine's newest Goosebumps book. The best-selling children's author will appear at the Winter School to teach a creative writing class.
I was a very fearful child. I was scared of a lot of things. I would just stay in my room writing. I started writing when I was 9 years old. And now I can think back and try to remember that feeling of fear and try to remember what I was scared about when I was a kid.
He's not scared anymore. Over 200 million copies of his books in print. The contest winner will be announced on October the 19th.
Well, now R.L. Stine is heading up a contest with the grand prize, a personal visit to your kid's school around Halloween. We talked to him about it by satellite.
We have a Brain Juice terrifying title contest. I don't know how it's going to work, but we're doing it. We're doing it with General Mills.
Okay, so
and I have this book. I have this Goosebumps book coming out called Brain Juice, which I love that title. I love titles. So we thought we'll have kids send in titles. Send me your Goosebumps titles. Let's see what kind of great titles kids come up with. And I'm going to pick a winner. And then I'm going to pay a surprise visit to their school, and we're going to write a story with the kids based on the winning title.
That will be lots of fun.
Well, some students who have been sitting on edge will find out today who's the freakiest. It's down to 50 finalists in the Brain Juice Terrifying Title Contest. The winner, to be announced today, will get a school visit from Goosebumps author R.L. Stine.
What did you think when you saw his face and you knew it was him?
I was just amazed.
Imagine being 10 years old, winning a national contest, and having your hero come to your school and talk to you and your classmates. Sounds pretty cool. Well, that's exactly what happened down in the south central Iowa town of Lacona today.
If you don't know who R.L. Stine is or his best-selling series of scary Goosebumps books, then you probably haven't been hanging around an 8 to 12-year-old lately. These kids at Southeast Warren Intermediate School know, especially this kid who received a surprise visit from his favorite author. He is Braden Gardner, an imaginative 10-year-old who entered his suggestion in the Brain Juice Terrifying Title Contest. His grand prize winning entry, Dead Dogs Still Fetch, was inspired by the family pooch Bonnie.
Sometimes seems like you could throw a stick and she might go get it, but it really won't happen.
So she's the dead dog who still fetches?
Yeah.
Thousands of kids from across the country entered. But why this kid? From a town of 350.
It just sounded like something I might come up with for Goosebumps.
If you've never read a Goosebumps book, they're kind of scary. Are they too scary?
No. I never have nightmares.
No nightmares, and according to the author, they're habit-forming.
Kids who read 30 Goosebumps, 40 Goosebumps, they're all developing a reading habit. I love that.
Braden says the visit from R.L. Stine was pretty cool, but it's also pretty cool being the most popular kid in school.
Oh, it feels good.
And Braden knows it'll feel even better than this when he follows in the footsteps of his hero.
I'm writing a book now. It's not a very good one because it has a lot of grammar problems and stuff, but I hope to correct it and publish it.
In Lacona, I'm Steve Carlin covering Central Iowa for News Channel 8.
Jake, nice to meet you. I like your shirt.
Can you tell Mr. Stine what your favorite one is?
Oh, thanks. I think you'll like Brain Juice. Nice to meet you.
Jackson. We drive to Chicago a lot, and they keep it very quiet on the drive.
All right.
You just heard the comments of the mother.
Before we continue any further, first of all, I just want to say we got a good look at the back of that shirt there, and again, it's a really cool looking shirt. This is my brain on Brain Juice. I like that. It's a really good one.
That is so cool, man. Like
Also,
those T-shirts are insane. Those big cardboard displays with the big cardboard box of the actual fruit roll-ups with Goosebumps on it. Like, man, that would just be insane to own something like that.
Also, so the story, as it said in there, the story was actually based on the family dog.
Yeah, I had actually forgotten that detail. Amazing what time does to memory. But yeah, Bonnie would have passed within the year, I think, of when that was recorded. She was one of the 2 Shelties we had growing up. And yeah, she would have just passed of old age at that point. She was, I want to say, 14. So good old age for a dog. But that would have been pretty recent in my memory for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool that you got to pick from real life to help inspire the title. But another thing I got to bring up is, did you ever end up making that book?
I did not. The manuscript of the book was lost as part of the house fire, sadly. So no.
Aww.
But the good news is I blog for our gaming website now, Assorted Meeples. So I'm able to still enjoy my love of writing through that, just through games.
Absolutely. All right, let's continue.
Parents like Goosebumps. I caught my son the other night. He'd never read a book in his life, and I caught him at 2 in the morning. For me, that's the most exciting thing. The kids who read 30 Goosebumps.
Okay. What was it about Braden's title?
It sounded like a Goosebumps title to me. We went through, we got thousands of great titles. It just sounded like something I might come up with for Met Him Yet.
Okay. They say he has a tremendous amount of emotion. He loves to read and he wants to be a writer. If you were to become a writer and you were to become a Goosebumps style writer,
my advice to kids who want to write is to write something every day. Keep a diary, keep a journal, and just make sure you write every day. I started when I was this kind of imaginative fiction.
Many people will be watching you every time. I think that you're maybe a little demanding.
You're not? No, I'm a hard-working guy. I'm not too demented. I got to write too many books to be demented. I write 2 books. Sure.
I love all these comments that you can hear Stine giving in the background. Like, no, I write too many books. I'm write too many books to be demented. Or even the fact that he insinuates that Matt actually did read a Goosebumps book, because you hear him in the background. He's like, I caught my son never read a book in his life. And like, wait a minute, you always say he never read Goosebumps. Methinks there's another mystery to be solved.
That goes back to what I said earlier about, Stine will say one thing, but then the story changes like next week. It's like, oh, hey. So it's kind of interesting. You never know what's true with Stine. Sometimes you think you do, but then you turn around and find out the truth. You're like, was he messing with me, or was this like a legit thing? Like he just totally forgot how it went down. Like you don't even know.
The man's an enigma. He really is.
Yeah. It sounded like a Goosebumps to me. It sounded scary and funny at the same time. One before. That's a hard.
Now, was that like candy they were pulling out? It looked like they were pulling it out of a skull.
I don't think it was candy. I think it was confetti.
Oh, really?
Unless I'm misunderstanding what I'm seeing here.
It looked more like confetti than candy, but I couldn't tell. Honestly, at first I thought they were pulling out gushers.
That would have been cool.
General
You make
Mills,
me want Gushers.
made sense. But if it's mixed with confetti, it's gonna sticky, sticky confetti.
Yeah.
But it almost looked like they were pulling it out of a little skull head. Like that would have been neat too. All right, I think we're coming up on the big moment here.
You see that banner?
What was that?
You see the brain juice banner right there?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's still
I was looking at
or
that.
something.
It might have been.
Yeah.
Brain Juice contest winner.
Yeah. Oh, it says Brain Juice
Well, it
Challenge
says.
winner.
Challenge.
That's what it says.
wow.
Challenge.
Maybe there was a mix up in the marketing department.
I am mentally challenged. It's okay.
Oh, don't worry. So am I.
Okay, I've got a secret that I'm going to tell you guys, okay? I'm here from General Mills, and we've got our Goosebumps people here, too. You all know Goosebumps. Yes. The prize winner in the national contest called the Brain Juice Terrifying Title Contest.
Oh my God.
Everybody to cheer for Braden, okay?
You surprised?
This right here, baby.
You think so?
Is R.L. Stine.
Yeah.
So what I need you to do is I need you to be as quiet as you can. Pretend it's like a surprise.
Hello, I'm R.L. Stine. I write the Goosebumps books.
I write the Goosebumps books. And I'm
Wait,
here
he
at your
has
school.
back turned to
In a few minutes, we're going to be meeting the Brain Juice contest winner.
It's so stilted and like unenthusiastic.
Yeah, he comes up and he has his back turned to the kids like he's trying to ignore them. Like he's like, "Oh my God, it's R.L. Stine." He's like, "Get away from me, kid."
he starts like kicking. He starts kicking him, punting him away. Leave me alone. I just want to go grocery shopping. Damn it.
Later. Hi. Who or anything? That's it? Yeah. Braden. Hi. I'm R.L. Stine. It's nice to meet you. You won the contest. You all right? Yeah? She's a little nutty. Congratulations! You won the fruit roll-ups contest. That's great. Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go. Enough waiting.
Yeah, like I said, I needed to be cued. I did not cotton on at all.
What's funny too, because he put his hand on your shoulder and you're still like so enthused with like all the audience that you just look over like, wait a minute, who's grabbing me right now?
It was so much to take in. Like I was still processing. Like you can see just if there were a loading screen in front of me, that would be just perfect because that's basically what was happening. I was just processing everything that was going on because I went from, oh, it's super quiet hallway talking to the principal to what's all this then?
Like, Braden. And then, hi, I'm R.L. Stine. You won the contest.
Yeah. The last thing you expect from a humdrum school day is to meet one of your heroes. Like, holy moly.
Yeah, that is got to be the greatest day of your school life, period.
Yeah. And
can't argue it.
Definitely. No, it's awesome.
Every time I watch this clip, this part when he first walks in the gymnasium, it makes me smile ear to ear because seeing his face is exactly how I would react. I would be like in so much shell shock, I wouldn't even know what's going around me.
Exactly.
You're like,
ears be buzzing. I'm just like, what's going on? I see Goosebumps shirts. I see R.L. Stine. That's insane.
I won a contest. What? I just bullshitted my way through that. I spent like 5 minutes on that title.
It was at least an hour. Give me some credit.
Yeah.
We picked your title to be the winning title. We're going to write a story with your title today. Okay, man. That was terrific. I think everyone's pretty excited. Where's Braden going? He's sitting over here.
Right in the middle. Sit right over here.
We're going to give him prizes.
Great.
Okay?
So you have a glass of water under there, and you have all your stuff.
So was this a surprise or what?
Congratulations! You're the grand prize winner in the Brain Juice Terrifying Title Contest. Way to go! Are you surprised?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Braden, of course you know that your grand prize is having R.L. Stine surprise you at your school. So that's what we're doing today. So we also have a few other prizes for you that we've got in the wrap here. We're going to bring out for you. We've already got your Goosebumps t-shirt. That was awesome.
Cool.
We'll get you one of these too.
All right.
We've got a ton of Fruit Rolls and Goosebumps books for you.
There you go, bud.
Looks pretty good, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that box is really cool looking. Like
that's an actual box.
Mm-hmm.
That is the ultimate grail right there. That box. I'm pretty sure that's the box that I have though. Like, but miniature, like the actual fruit.
Is
roll-ups.
that the box they shipped to your house, Braden, that had all the fruit roll-ups in it?
It is not.
Oh.
That would have been cool.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that would have been insane.
No, they were much more conventional about it.
Wow, I do have that box, just miniature.
Yeah.
It's a normal size.
You know what's funny about the search? When we were trying to find you, Braden, I actually came across the lady that's talking on that microphone. She was a contest promoter for General Mills, and I found her website, and I tried to get a hold of her like a couple of times. I never got through to her. But she had a picture on her website of this event of her wearing a Brain Juice t-shirt, and that's what prompted me to reach out to her. But luckily, we ended up finding you. But yeah, that was probably the biggest hurdle in this discovery process, was trying to find somebody that was actually at the event that can possibly lead us somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
Wow.
it's awesome.
That's so crazy.
It's so cool. I just love just the utter look of just like taking everything in and like just being overwhelmed. Like, oh, you can hear like, it's almost like hearing the dial-up like modem sound. Like you're just trying to process everything.
And I like how the cameraman is trying to capture, like, I guess, Braden's point of view of it all, like his reactions, and then getting behind him to see what he's looking at in that moment. I think that's awesome. Great cinematography for that.
They
Absolutely.
did a good job, and you can kind of see me just kind of being led across the floor, kind of floating on cloud nine from that staircase to the chair. It's
awesome. It's really cool.
Even R.L. Stine just being like, Where's Braden going? Where's Braden going? Like,
Yeah, I think he figured out that I
where
was.
are we walking to?
Yeah, I think he figured out I was equal parts nervous, awed, and confused, and was gracious enough to help me along to where I needed to go, which I really needed in those moments.
Just being like, we're going over here now.
Yep, we're going over here. I'm like, cool, awesome, thank you.
Like, cool. I would be the exact same way. I can just
I would be too.
But I would be like, honestly, I probably wouldn't even move. You would have to like pick me up and put me on the chair. I would be so stiff.
Let's give it up for R.L. Stine.
Thank you. Thanks. A very scary crowd. You guys are scaring me. Well, congratulations, Braden. This is a very exciting day. I'm so excited to be here. I don't quite know where I am, but I'm very excited to be here. I've been traveling around a lot in the past few weeks, so I'm a little dizzy from it all, I think. I was in, we had another contest a couple weeks ago. I was up in Toronto. We had a contest where 2 kids won a trip to Toronto where we filmed the Goosebumps TV show. And they got to go on the set of the Goosebumps Monsters by our makeup person. And I went up there. I wanted to see what they looked like. And I got up to the studio. They came running based on Braden's title, Dead Dog Still Fetch. Thought I would talk a little bit about it. Let me ask you a couple questions before we get started. What do you think is scarier, spiders or jellyfish? How many think spiders are scarier? How many think jellyfish? Oh, I think this is a spider crowd. It's close. I think this is a spider crowd.
Jellyfish honestly are kind of creepy.
I love spiders. I have a pet tarantula. Like, I would never say spiders, man.
Gross.
There's a more common fear
Jellyfish.
of arachnophobia just because, though, I mean, we don't live in the ocean. You know,
Well,
now
the
if you
thing
get
is-
a water spider combination thing,
There is.
okay, then you just like cross into the Twilight Zone freakiness. So
There is water spiders.
So when
Ones
you
that
say
live in
that
the-
you have a pet spider, Bjorn, do you mean like you keep it as a dog because that's how big they get down there?
No, like, oh, well, the biggest spiders get here, I mean, you get like
Goliath bird eaters.
big, like pretty big. Like, you've seen them, you see those like Australian videos where they talk about like the deadly animals, like, and they generally will show a spider. But yeah, they that's how big they grow. We have the Sydney funnel web, which is like one of the most dangerous in the world. So, and I've had them inside my house multiple times. So, yeah, but I still love them. I love spiders.
Definitely. I don't. So that's
Because
what
you're
you
an
and I
Aussie and you're crazy, man.
Your bed. How many how many think it would be scarier to find it in your sandwich? Yeah, pretty good. How many think it would be scarier to find it in your bed? Okay, so now we've got spiders in your bed. This is how, now if I wrote a book called Night of the Living Puppy, you probably wouldn't like it, right? It wouldn't be too scary. What's scary about a guitar? I'd made a little mistake. So we changed it to piano lessons can be murder. Because piano, I guess the question I'm asked most often is where do you get your ideas? And it's a very hard question to. 2 boys are teasing Carly Beth, and they give her a. We had to do the scene 12 times. Isn't that terrible? How many of you have seen The Cuckoo Clock of Doom? Yeah, just like, thank you. Oh, that's great. That's great. That's a story about a 12-year-old little guy, and we didn't know. Everyone was nervous. We didn't know if he could make it or not. His parents were there, and the director, and the producer. And he started out, and we watched him, and he made it up the first step, and he got up to the second step, And he was doing it. He got up to the top, and he turned to the camera, and he said, "I have to pee." That was that. So we had to start all we had to start all over again. Well, shall we try and write a fetch? Let's see if we can do this. This will work. First, we need 2 kids' names, right? We need 2. Shall we call one Braden? Huh? We'll call one kid Braden. All right, then we need a girl's name. Who has...
I would have liked it if they just said, "No, that name sucks." Oh, sorry.
Wait till we get to the dog's
What
name.
should it be? Isaiah.
Oh. You.
One of my favorite moments of this video is coming in a few seconds when they get to the dog's name. It makes me laugh every time when Stine reacts to this.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to come out and... Dog. What kind of dog is it? Yeah, what kind of dog? A black lab. Okay, Braden and Jessica have a black lab. That's good. How old? 3? Young, huh? Pretty young. That's good. My dog is 3. My dog Nadine has a very boring life. She sits under the desk, watches me write all day. It's not too exciting. Okay, they have a black lab. What's the dog's name? We need a good name for the dog. All right, who has a good name? Let's do somebody in the back row. Yes. Yes. What's the dog's name? You. Yes. Seth. Seth for a dog? Yeah? All right, Seth. No, the dog's name is Seth. We have a black lab named Seth. All right?
That is a good name for a dog. You're right.
His reaction gets me every time.
Like, Seth for a dog? I was like, all right, I guess the dog's named Seth.
Reading too many Goosebump books, I'm telling you. Seth the dog.
I just love. I would love it. This is just me and my cynical brain, just him being like, "No, that name sucks. Let's do another one. That name sucks. You suck."
He was clearly incredulous. Like, there's just like that was not what I was expecting.
He was like, "Yep, okay, I guess the name. I guess the dog's name is Seth."
We're going with her.
That's awesome. That's a great reaction. Just like, what? Huh?
Stine knows how to play to a crowd.
Yep.
All right, now Seth loves to fetch. And Brady to think this is a scary story, right? We have to.
Okay, sorry to pause it so soon after, but what was that laugh in the back there?
It must have been just on cloud 9, I guess. Just having fun.
I just love the that laugh in the background there. I just love again how he just adapts to that name, but he's also just kind of like, so Seth, the dog, Seth.
Well, think about the other dogs that he's named. What was the dog's name in Welcome to Dead House?
I can't even remember.
Was
Petey.
it Petey?
Petey.
Yeah.
It was
You guys really don't know? Yeah, it's Petey.
That's not the worst one. Neither Living
then-
Dummy, it was Barky.
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 Well, there
Yeah,
was
I was gonna
Wolf.
say, think about all the
Wolf,
dogs
yeah.
names that he came up with for his stuff. You know what I mean?
Wolf
That's what I'm
was-
saying.
Wolf was Fever Swamp, and then the episode they made him Vandal, which is even cooler.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they gave a
Vandal
reason
was
for why
fine.
they
That was
called him
actually a
that.
good dog's name.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he even said
That
it
was
was like,
like
I'm
the only
naming him
one, I
Vandal
think.
because of the way he broke in last night. I was like, yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But Petey? Come on, bro.
Seth?
Seth?
To make the story scary. So we need to think of a good scary place for them to be playing fetch. Where do you think? Where should they be playing fetch?
In the forest.
In the forest. All right, maybe. And can we think of a scarier place than the forest? How about something scarier than a forest even? Standing up. Yes. Yes.
Okay, a graveyard.
A graveyard. Oh, that's good. Okay. And their mom says, I don't want you playing fetch with the dog in the graveyard anymore. It's too scary. I don't want you going there. And Braden says, but that's where I found Seth. That's where I found him, in the graveyard. It's not back row, yes. A bone?
No, a skull.
A skull. A whole skull? The dog, all right, we'll try it. All right, let's see what's it. What do you think it is? Yes. Yeah. A ghost. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know if that's, I don't think we want staggering out for its head. This is good. I think this is working out. I think now we're just going to have to think of a good ending here. We'll be in good shape. And the skeleton comes out, and Braden and Jessica say they're not afraid. And do you know why they're not afraid? They point to a grave. The skeleton comes closer and closer, staggering, its bones rattling, and stops in front of a grave. And the two kids point to the grave, and the name on the grave is Seth, because Seth is a dead dog. But see, dead dogs still fetch. And when the skeleton realizes that he's come after a dead dog, the skeleton turns around and goes back. And that's our story. Dead dogs still fetch. We did it. All right.
What a good story.
She's probably writing it down. She's like, this is gold.
He's like,
yes,
I'm gonna take it and steal all the credit.
I'm gonna take it and get this printed.
Ooh. I might need to employ these kids. I like the kids passing along. I believe it was a Ghost of Fear Street book, and one of them just passes along to that one kid. It's just like, dude, check this out. Like, oh shit, bro.
You know, the sad thing is that concept could actually work pretty well as a book. All you needed is like, the dog Seth is in a graveyard. The kid finds him there. It ends up being a zombie's pet, and that's the twist. And there you go. There's your Goosebumps book.
That's the thing. It would have worked. That's honestly,
yeah.
It kind of stinks that it didn't get made into an official book, because it really would have worked. I think so, at least.
Thank you. All right, I thought I would read a chapter to you today from a book that isn't out yet. It's coming out next month, so you are the first kids in America to hear this chapter. Nobody's heard this or seen it yet. And it's from the book that's on your shirt, Brain Juice, which is my new favorite Goosebumps. I love this one. It came out really funny and very scary, and I think it's coming out next month. Brain Juice is about two kids who drink this purple liquid and become smarter and smarter and smarter. And they become so smart, no one can stand them. And they get kicked out of school because they're way too smart. And they lose all their friends because they're too smart. And it ruins their lives. And then they get kidnapped by these two aliens. And the aliens say, well, they're smart enough to be slaves on our planet. And they take them in their spaceship. And on the way to this planet, the two kids get stupider and stupider and stupider. It wears off. And by the time they get to the other planet, they're so stupid they can barely walk. Anyway, this is an early chapter in the book where the two aliens, Bert, it makes us 5 times as heavy. Morgul's tentacles writhed and wriggled. Waves of thick perspiration rolled off his fat body. Maybe we shouldn't have landed in New Jersey. Maybe there are nicer places. Too late for that now, Gobble replied with his upper mouth, His bottom mouth was turned down in a tight sneer. It took so long to get to this house, Morgul complained. Keeping in total darkness, hiding early morning, Gobble. Shh, do not wake anyone. Gobble ran his tongues over his tusks. We had to come to their house. We have to make sure. Made their way down the dark hall. They stopped outside Nathan's bedroom and peered inside. The boy, Gobble whispered. He motioned with all 4 tentacles for Morgul to follow him. They stopped beside Nathan's desk. Gobble gazed at the 2 empty drinking glasses on the desktop. He lowered a tentacle and sniffed the glasses with his pods. Yes, he whispered. Smiles spread over his 2 mouths. Yes, 2 empty glasses. He turned to find that Morgul had stepped up to the bed. He was rocking on his short legs, studying the boy. The boy slept soundly, silently on his back, on top of the covers. Morgul, come away, Gobble called in a loud whisper. Don't wake him. Come away from there. We've seen all we need to see. We know that he drank the formula. But Gobble, Morgul protested, something is wrong. Something is terribly wrong. He waved frantically for Gobble to join him. Shh, Gobble hissed. What is the matter? The boy, Morgul gasped, his face creased in horror. He isn't breathing. That's the end of chapter 4. Chapter 5. Gobble's mouth opened in alarm. He pulled his body quickly over to the bed. Did the formula kill the...
Hey, Mr. Stine, you said you were going to read 1 chapter.
Yeah.
No complaints here.
I wouldn't complain if he was going to read 2 to me. So
Yeah.
I'll say it.
Honestly, if he stopped there, I'd be like, what the hell? Finish the
haircut.
I got to ask you a very serious question, Nick. You grew up in the 90s. Did you have that bowl cut?
Mine didn't look like that. Mine actually was good.
That looks like a bowl cut mullet hybrid.
I was going to say, that's a hybrid cut. That's not even a full-on bowl cut.
That is incredible looking.
You had more the Leonardo / Edward Furlong, like undercut, cool looking hair.
Yeah, I had that kind of cut, and then I later got the spiked hair thing that the '90s had too. So with the frosted tips, bro.
Interesting.
Some of the kids in this video have that hairstyle. I've noticed too. I'm like, oh my god, like, wow. But it's crazy. Like, it's back. A lot of kids are doing that hair again now.
His hair.
Boy, Morgul bent over the bed, staring at Nathan's bare arms. Do you see, he whispered? Not breathing. Gobble leaned closer. He studied the boy for a long moment. Then he shut his eyes. When he opened them, his expression was angry. Morgul, you fool, he rasped. Humans do not breathe through their arms as we do. Morgul raised himself and turned to his leader. He made a wet swallowing sound. They don't? Humans breathe through those 2 holes on their faces. Look carefully. The boy's breathing steadily. The fat alien turned back to the bed and watched the boy breathe through his nose. Gross, he murmured. He gross and disgusting. Gobble nodded in agreement. But if we can smarten up the boy and his sister, he whispered, then they will be what we came. 2 smiles played over Gobble's face. Then, Morgul, you can kill them and eat their hearts, he said. My treat. And that's a chapter from Brain Juice. Thank you. I'm going to wrap it up. Okay. You do a little? Thank you very much. Now, how do I get so many books published? I actually write 2 books a month, and the way I do it, I just treat it as a full-time job, and I just work at it every day. I work about 6 days a week, and I write 20 pages a day. I think I'm kind of lucky that I can write really fast, and that I like it so much, because I started writing when I was 9, and I've been writing ever since. Questions? Who has a question? Yes. No, it doesn't take 25. What do you mean 25 years to get a book published? It takes about, it actually takes about 9 months to get your book out. It takes about 9 months to do it. I'm working on next summer's book. I've got to get back to the airport, fly back to New York. Yes. My real name, Robert Lawrence. Actually, no one ever called me RL in my life. Everyone just calls me Bob, really. But my name's Robert Lawrence. Everyone always expects a really exciting answer to that question, but it's just my name. What can you do? Yes? Can I do what? I don't think so. Nice try. It'll be out in a few weeks. All right, where are we? Here. Questions over here. Yes. Yes.
How did you get started writing?
I just, when I was 9 years old, I went up to the attic and I found this old typewriter. And I dragged it down to my room and I started typing little magazines and little stories, just typing. And that's all I don't know why I found it so interesting. But I did, I loved it. And I used to do these little magazines, little comic magazines, and then bring them into school and pass them around. And I was always getting into trouble for it, always. The teachers were always taking them away and saying, Bob, stop that. Could you stop? Nobody ever encouraged me. They always discouraged me, but I kept doing it anyway. Yes? Can you all have the fruit roll-ups? I think that's up to Braden. It's not up to me. I'll be out of here by then. You can fight over them.
See, he's encouraging. He's encouraging the dealings in the lunchroom.
Yeah, that's really what's going on here.
Yeah. Sharing is caring.
Yeah, it's like I don't care what you do with them. I'll be miles away from here.
Yeah,
He's already talking about
You guys can kill each other. I'll be gone.
No one ever know. By the time they find out, I'll be miles from here.
I'll be going back to my private mansion on my private jet.
With two big buff security guards in front to keep whoever comes up out.
Oh, man.
Yes. What's happened with Goosebumps and my Fear Street books and the fact that they've become so popular has been really exciting for me. But I feel that I put in those 20 years, I just kept going, I kept at it and worked hard for it. And I think that's made a real difference. And I'm having a great time now. I'm so happy that you all like the book so much and like the TV show and everything. It makes me very happy, and I'm so glad kids are reading so much. I think that's terrific. Yes. Yesterday, I was autographing at the Mall of...
Okay, I just got to say, I was exactly you in that moment there, Braden. I was exactly like you when I was a kid, because whenever I had a question, I was so eager. I'd just be like, me, and they would never call on me. I would be like, just answer my question.
I can't for the life of me remember what question I even was going to ask here.
Oh, that's always the worst, when they finally call on you and you're like, I don't remember. And they're like, well, too bad. But then you would remember it after they move on. So you're like,
you should have just got up and walked over to him and tugged on his... And be like, I have a question.
Stole the microphone away. Just be like, look, this is my special day. And on my special day, I get to ask the questions.
Young me did not have anywhere near that gumption.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Someone who does would do that.
America in Minneapolis, and this big kid came up on the stage and he said, would you sign a book for me? I said yes. His name was Jason. And I signed it for Jason, and he said, and would you sign one for my twin brother? And I said, sure, what's his name? And he said, Jason. And I said, no, that's you, Braden. This is very exciting. Congratulations on a wonderful title. I enjoyed writing a story with you guys, and thank you very much.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. We've got, it's not quite over yet, Braden. Are you having fun still?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You guys out there having fun? Well, my name's Tom, and I actually have the coolest job job in the world. I get to work on fruit roll-ups every day. How cool is that?
Not
So
that
again,
cool, really, guy.
The cynical part of me is just be like, I get to work with fruit roll-ups every day. How cool is that? Nothing. I'd be like, oh, okay.
If I
guess
remember
I'll just
right,
leave then.
I want to say those boxes were hollow.
There was nothing in them.
Yeah.
Again, by the time they find
Just
out,
for
I'll be miles
show.
from here.
I'm telling you, for the General Mills fruit products. I mean, at this time, remember that commercial we watched that had the stories on the fruit by the foot wrapper thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the coolest time to be alive. Was in that moment when General Mills used to be cool like that. I mean, I remember Lunchables also had cool stuff like that too. Sometimes they'll have like some weird stuff in the boxed ones. They'll have like puzzles or something, or some inserts in there to have fun with.
Exactly. Well, like the Goosebumps fruit roll-ups were like they had like the little peel out, like they'd have like a bat or a pumpkin. But even like when fruit roll-ups had like tongue tattoos that you would put on your tongue and then would leave like an imprint. Mine never worked. It always felt awkward, like just putting a fruit roll-up on your tongue and leaving it there. I think I once had like my grandma like pass by me and be like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "No, don't worry about it."
Somebody out there asked about some fruit roll-ups for him, and you're going to get them later, so everybody gets to have some fruit roll-ups.
It's a fruit roll-up. Don't riot.
Those kids in the middle of the row in the back are just, every time there's an announcement, they just stand up and have an ovation. It's electric. They're just having a ball back there.
Just be like, we have R.L. Stine with us. He's going to be writing a story with you guys. Yeah. Everybody gets a 5-minute bathroom break. Oh, man, they're very excitable kids.
Well, just real quick, I think you guys know how cool it was to have Braden write such a fantastic title and win a visit from R.L. Stine himself. But he also won some really cool stuff for all you guys and for your school, which is really cool. So if Principal Weekend could come up here. Yeah, Principal!
Hi. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. This is the
Thank
letter
you.
that he
That's
wrote
it.
to you upstairs.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, we wanted to make...
What was that? Should give him his phone? Give him her phone number or something?
I do not know what the deal is with that.
She said it was a letter that you wrote to him. Do you remember that?
I don't offhand. And she was very much an all business sort of person. So maybe it was a thank you note. Maybe it was something else. I don't know.
Maybe it was Mr. Stine. They're currently towing your vehicle outside.
Your flight has been canceled. You're stuck here for 2 days.
In Lacona? No chance.
It's like, wait, I'm stuck here, but they're going to find out there's nothing in those fruit roll-up boxes. They're going to come after me.
Get me out of here fast.
I'm going to have to hitchhike.
A couple of presentations to your school as a result of Braden's excellent work on this fantastic title. And Lee, if you could bring him out here, we've got some really neat stuff for you guys.
What a beauty.
Right?
That floods back so many memories, man.
That is
oh my
peak
gosh.
late 90s.
I
Already
had
runs
one
better than your
myself.
current computer, Isaiah.
God, I wish. But like any pictures of like these things in like a bedroom in the late 90s is just like, God, I didn't even grow up in the 90s, and that's nostalgic to me. So try to figure that out. But all those books on the bottom there, hey, honestly, that looks like even more than the original 62.
Those true first prints.
There is Series 2000.
I definitely see a GYG in there.
On there, I
it
can
might
see
have had
too.
even more than
I think it looks like almost triple header towards the left. I think those are the triple headers.
You've got the whole idea of this contest was to use your brain juice. You've got it all on your t-shirt. So all you guys, we want you guys to keep using your brain juice out there. Keep reading, keep learning, which is fantastic.
All right, let's see.
No. Pause. Oh no, there's Choose Your Own Adventure, Series 2000s.
There's definitely Secret Agent Grandma in there. I can tell by the spine.
Bumps right on the top left there.
Yeah, it looks like there were quite a few more in there than I remembered.
Yeah, that's a lot of books.
There's some black spine.
Yeah, there's some black spine in there. Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Those are pretty rare nowadays.
Oh, man, you might have to hit your school up and be like, hey,
I mean,
are you using some of those books? If you still, I mean, assuming they still got them.
26 years in circulation, those things have got to be beat to bejesus.
They're holding on by a thread. They're covered in hair and boogers. I'd still take them.
The kids in the middle.
That's all.
The kids in the middle of the crowd are still standing in ovation for the fact that they got a free set of Goosebumps books.
I think they're more excited about the new computer. Whoa! Computer! My school! I still love when the principal comes out and just that one voice in the background. I was like, yeah, principal!
We've got a Microsoft computer for you. We've got a whole bunch of Goosebumps books that you guys can share and read. If there's any, you have a bunch of them for you down there. And also, we've got a bunch of bonus box tops for education, which are on all of our fruit snacks at General Mills and all of our cereal.
I gotta say that R.L. Stine has such a way of looking like he'd rather be anywhere else in any situation.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, this is the boring part.
I know, but it's well, and like he probably doesn't feel it, but he just has that resting face, but it's just like, yeah. So when is my flight leaving again?
I think he's thinking about how to write Full Moon Fever in the back of his brain at this moment.
How am I gonna write?
See, I thought it was going to be Monster Blood 5. He's like, I should do another Monster Blood.
He's like, I'm gonna be planning all the way up to like, how should I write Monster Blood 42?
And all of our cereals, and you guys in your school can go out and buy some really cool stuff for your school, whatever you guys need. And Principal Weekland will figure out what that is, and it should be awesome. So enjoy the stuff.
Well, we're gonna stop the video right there, but I mean, wow, it's just incredible once again. Like it seemed like a really incredible time.
It really was. Like that. I can't say I've ever had an experience like it since. It was just incredible. Like, where do you go from there? I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's like, well, right. I've officially peaked.
I wasn't going to use those words. I like to think
peaked
I
haven't. At 10.
What's the one thing that you remember the most about that event outside of watching the video of it? Like, what's the one thing that sticks with you whenever you think about it?
Probably the thing that sticks with me most. I mean, that's gotta be the entrance. Like,
I was gonna say
that. There's not another answer to that question, man. Just that whole initial first couple of minutes was just incredible. There was so much going on. I had no chance of taking it all in whatsoever, but trying to take it as much as you can. And then having someone try and get your attention, and then after you finally have enough brain power freed up to acknowledge that, you turn and it's beloved children's author R.L. Stine, writer of my favorite series of books. back to the loading screen.
I was gonna say, I don't think there's any like core memory that would possibly stick with you more than just that initial entrance and just being blasted with all that realization right there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it seems like a wonderful experience through and through. But yeah, and I guess one last question to end off the night. Are you would you still consider yourself a Goosebumps fan now?
I would consider myself a casual fan now. And I think a lot of that has really been as a result of bringing this information back into the light, getting refamiliarized with it. Like, after finding the footage, one of the first things I started doing was looking for a complete set of the original 62 and of Series 2000, because those were the series I really grew up with, and planning to reread through all of those. And they're on the shelf behind me here on the second bottom there.
Nice.
I did reread the original 62 in 2022. So I'm familiar again with all of those books, and it was fun getting to relive that experience again. That was just excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Series 2000 will come in time when I have a little free time and my eye surgery finishes healing up so I can use both my eyes again. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to reading through those books, and got to reread Brain Juice at this point, especially after hearing Stine read the first couple chapters in there, chapters 4 and 5 thereabouts. Just like, yeah, I got to get back into that.
Yeah, funny that, because he said he was going to read one chapter, but honestly, 4 or 5 chapters of a Goosebumps book is probably equating to one chapter of a normal book. So,
yeah, basically.
I don't know if you guys noticed in that video, but there was a copy of Revenge of the Law Gnomes TV Presents on the shelf in there. I was like, what?
It's like it's so close you can grab it.
That wasn't rare then. It was just another book.
Yeah.
Should have capitalized on that more. Should have capitalized.
$300 Goosebump book now. So that's crazy that it was just chilling on the shelf in the video. I'm like, what? That would have been the latest book. Well, obviously, if the TV presents. So
yeah,
awesome.
But yeah, it's awesome that you're still a casual fan, but you still are known to hardcore Goosebumps fans as one of the lucky kids who got to experience a one-of-a-kind experience. So that's awesome, man. We're very happy for you.
Well, I appreciate that. It's been just super cool kind of getting back in touch with that time in my life, because, I mean, there was definite staying power after that assembly and having R.L. Stine come in, and it lasted for years, and then went off to school, and it was just kind of a fun story I could tell periodically, but a lot of people didn't really know a whole lot about it, and it just kind of faded away, as many things do as you become an adult and go do the working thing and all of that, and getting to kind of get back in touch with that and dig out these special memories, and then being able to share them with everyone, especially after finding out just how long they've been buried and just how much research there've been for them. It's nice to kind of be able to bring that joy back out for everyone to enjoy, and I'm really glad I was able to find it for not just me, but for all the Goosebumps fans out there.
Yeah, beautifully said.
God, I don't know if I would have ever shut up about it. Like, the moment if I won, and I would tell everybody all the way up till this day about it. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Married with Children, anybody out there, but basically Al Bundy and his 4 touchdowns in one game story that he tells everybody all the time. That's me. I'd be telling everybody all the time, I'm the Goosebumps contest winner. He came to my school. Brain Juice contest. Look it up.
Yep. Look at
it. I'd be telling people all the time.
4 touchdowns in one game. I love that. Yeah, he says it like he'll be talking about something completely irrelevant, and then he'll just go, "Oh, and I had 4 touchdowns in one game," and you'd be like, "Just shut up."
Yep, that'd be that. It'd just be like, "Oh, and I won that Goosebumps contest." It's like, yeah, we know.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'll be saying that all the time.
Well, that's going to do it for tonight's episode of the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. Braden, thank you so much for joining us and talking about Goosebumps with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks again for having me. This has been fun.
Absolutely. And, if you ever want to talk more Goosebumps again, you know where to find us.
I'll keep that in mind.
And again, special thanks to Braden Gardner for joining us here today. And of course, also thank you to Austin, aka Goosebumps Completionist, for joining us today and talking Goosebumps with us as well. And of course, make sure you go and follow the Goosebumps crew, Goosebumps Aussie fan, Bjorn Panelik, and Shell and Nick Shaw on their social medias and their YouTubes. They really do deserve it. Make sure you follow Goosebumps Completionist on his social medias and his YouTubes. He's also got his own podcast, Goose Junkies, over on his channel, so go check that out. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Goosebumps Crew podcast on the Goosebumps Crew YouTube channel. Follow us on our audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. And follow the Goosebumps Crew on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Also, don't forget to visit the link in the description for the Kickstarter for 1 Week at a Horrorland. Only you guys can help us make this event a reality in November. So make sure you help us reach our goal by July 30th if you want to participate in the biggest Goosebumps convention ever produced and meet some of the wonderful guests we have planned coming up. We're going to have a new episode for you next week of the Goosebumps Crew Podcast, but until then, this has been the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. From all of us here, we want to wish you all, as always, to take care, stay safe, and have a very scary day.